correct and what their religion dictates, but in order to live economically, and they get married, he'll lose his retirement.
Mhm.
She'll lose it. So
Because a lot of them, the reason for
this is crazy,
the same-sex marriage, I don't think it's so much that gay individuals or same-sex partners want to just to be rebellious and go against religious teaching. I think it's more on the benefit side. Like when you put it to the point where if you have a partner that goes into war, gets hurt, or get killed, you as this person's partner don't receive any of the benefits from it, which is unfair. Or if your partner should happen to get sick for whatever reason in the hospital, you can't even go visit them. Or I even had an example of a friend that this happened like maybe 15 years ago. Got sick. This man was disowned by his family for like almost 12 years. And he got sick. The partner did everything. They had then built this home together and this business together. And as soon as this man died, all those family members who disowned him, they're all in these people's houses, rambling through his things, talking about this is my son, this is my brother. And that's just unfair. That's just, and because he had no legal rights to that, because they wasn't legally married, they could do that. But see, under these new laws, I think that's why a lot of same-sex people are trying to make it legalized so they can get married. Not so much just to say, oh, I'm just trying to go against the Bible and I'm just, I just want.
Right.
But just for it's a whole. It goes way deeper than just.
A lot of other discriminatory factors there. I know one of the people at the Congressional Black Caucus at the Ecumenical Service said, on Sunday morning, the pastor preaches Jesus, but not what Jesus preached.
Right.
That was deep.
That was deep.
So why'd you guys get into the political game? What was your interest? What was your initial interest, and has it changed?
Okay, I talked to a guy at Kroger about that, about voting, and he said he didn't vote because I do the drive-bys and the walk-bys. So wherever I am, and he said, I don't get into politics. I said, well, do you have a child in school? He said, yeah. I said, you know how your schools, how we pay for the schools? With taxes. Pay the teachers. I said, you drive a car? Yeah, you know you have to have a tag on it. You don't put a tag on it. You can't drive your car. You own a home. You don't pay your taxes. They can sell your house on the courthouse square. I said, in a couple of months, they're going to tell you what time it is. And let me ask you again, are you involved in politics? And so he said, I never thought about it. Like, I took him down a longer line than this. But I really feel like it's my childhood upbringing, just civic duty, civic responsibility. I'm rooted in that from my childhood. I saw my mother going to the poll. I saw her going to campaigns. She wasn't nearly as actively engaged as I was, but it's kind of rooted in it. And then when I got into the arena, working in the public schools, all these legislative things that they put upon teachers, including whether you can have recess or not. So when you start to just outline how much politics controls your life, then you need to be a part of that decision-making process. And I always say, if politics wasn't involved in my life, hey, I can move on. Hey.
I come from a very activist family. My parents grew up in Jim Crow, Georgia. But something got a hold of them around 1961, 62.
Oh, it must be the Lord. Something got a hold. You know that song?
Actually, it wasn't. I don't know. My dad went to school in Massachusetts to get his doctorate in history. And he had friends going down as freedom riders to Mississippi. My aunt, Tina, was a freedom rider, or helping freedom riders in Mississippi. And they came out of Jim Crow, Georgia, and for whatever reason, they decided this doesn't work anymore.
That's good.
So I got taken to marches on Washington and all throughout the 60s. And I was just told repeatedly, you will be involved. You will do what's necessary to make sure everybody has the right to vote. And it's an incredibly important thing for all of us.
It is. So. I think it is. I think my first, I'm going to be honest with you, I just registered 4 years ago because one, it was just because I was excited to see a black president. That was my motivation. But then once I started talking to more people who were really deep into politics, like yourself, Tobias, and a few other people, I realized that it was much deeper than that. I didn't even realize, even though I'm sure I've probably read about it in history, but it never really impacted me to the point where I was like, how many people died or sacrificed to even get the right to vote? Women first probably couldn't vote at first, and you know, all the things that went into play just so that all you have to do is come out of your house, register, and then go to the poll and vote.
Exactly.
So,
How is your generation inviting the younger generation to be part of the political agenda, and also is there any? Do you feel there's any holdback of, bringing that new blood into it and changing the way things are currently working right now?
Well, the president, because he's a youngster,
I love it.
he's a month older than I am, brought out, I think, a whole lot of people, certainly African Americans, but also young voters in general, that haven't been engaged in the past, haven't thought to be engaged. It was the whole hope thing, okay? I think we've got a challenge ahead of us in 2014 and 2016, the next presidential election, 2016. And that there's not likely to be an African American on the ballot. So we've got to spend this year, the next 3 years, making sure, certainly in Georgia, that the young voters understand the differences between Democrats and Republicans and where they want to take us. And if that's not enough motivation for young folks, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I think just the fact that African Americans have traditionally voted Democrats, we just look for the D, not even the name. Straight ticket, D. I think now people are looking at party and person. So we've got to make sure we're producing strong people to run on the ticket for the Democrats, because it's no longer just, you're a Democrat. What do you stand for? What are your views? So I think that's another thing. I think getting young people involved in the Democratic Party and having the Democratic Party understand that when they come there, you have a voice there. You have a right to be there. You have some ideas there, and not just listening to you passively, but taking what you're saying into consideration and trying to see, will it work? I don't want our young people to come to the party and say, oh, is this it? Is this what we do?
Me?
And then not want to come back again. I want these meetings to be of value.
But
See,
how do you get them excited about when they come and they see that there's a little pushback for the younger ones to come?
Well, let me tell you, it's a little challenge back for the old ones too now. There's a little pushback for the old ones. Sometimes I go, you know what I'm saying? Everything is not going to just be that Disney World atmosphere in life, as you well know. But you have to make some assessments and see change is always slow.
Yeah.
It also starts with a commitment. There are a number of times I could have just walked from either party, I mean the state or the county, but I am committed to stay there because I know even if we're good, we can be better. That's my concern. I know in all these parties, we can be so much better with the mindset that we have. And you do know we have a Young Democrat organization. We do have the Young Dems. And Tobias and some others are going to try to work and revitalize our Young Democrats. Okay. You know, we've kind of found we've gone back and forth. Some of our Young Democrats are no longer Young Democrats. So they moved up.
Young Democrats in DeKalb County.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, Young Democrats in DeKalb County. Our state organization is active and very viable, but just getting DeKalb County holding that mantle of saying we have the large percentage of turnouts of Democrats. That means we got a large percentage of targets that we need to be reaching and working with so that they don't just walk away from the poll and say, okay, that's it. But I want to say another thing I like about the president. He answers 10 letters every week. He answers emails. That ought to be inviting to a young person to say, I have an opportunity for the president to answer me directly or respond to my emails or hear my voice. We got the congressional district right here in DeKalb. Congressman Hank Johnson, he's actually done a new website to get you more involved. So I think one thing, you need to know who your state representative is, who your county commissioner is. Young people have to access all those people. You go to the Secretary of State's website, MVP, My Voter page, and start calling these people. They need to know who you are. I'm so-and-so, I live at so-and-so. Even when we're not having a campaign, introduce yourself. Let them know your issues. So that when they hear your name, they're like, oh, you know, I've already talked to him or her. Hey, it's called relationship building.
And they'll remember you too for calling.
Hey, because only 5 people come. Okay, but anyway. Okay.
But I think there's a lack of that awareness.